We'll be up in a second, guys. We'll be up in a second. I had some technical difficulties. We'll be up in a second. I'll be right back. All right, all right, all right. Okay, I'm coming back on right now. Live screen. Three, two, one. Here we are. Finally, praise his holy name. God help us. I don't know what that was. All right. So, how you doing, everybody? This is the live Gospel Organ Summit. All right. This is number three. Now, for those who are just getting here or seeing this for the first time, welcome. I know there's a lot more people on this one than there were on the last couple of them. So, we're going to do this. And today, we're talking about some advanced stuff, soloing techniques, um, advanced organ things, how to make your playing sound full on the organ as you are soloing, talk music, advanced left chord voicings, left hand chord voicings, all those different things. So let's jump in and get started. Thank God this thing is working now because it was really pissing me off earlier. Okay, so let's start out with talk music and also talk about um, approaching talk music and using hymns as a base. Okay, now in the last masterclass um, we talked about preacher chords and stuff like that. For those who missed it, unfortunately, that was a great lesson, and I'll be putting it up in a couple of days. But if you have the link, you should just go to the link and you'll still be able to find it there. Alrighty, guys. So we're talking about talk music and hymns and all that stuff. Y'all let me know if you can hear the organ. Can y'all hear the organ? Okay. Now I think it's on. Let me check, make sure it's on. It is on. Good job. All right, let me turn the volume up a little bit. Get some more love on the mic. Here we go. Sounds good. Let me make sure we have some more stuff here. Making sure everything is copacetic. There we go. There we go. Perfect. All right. So let's jump right on in. Now, approaching talk music, first things first, you want to think melodically, okay? And the thing with talk music is, there's not really a song in talk music. It's not like you're gonna play Jesus, you're the center of my joy, or you know, I really love the Lord, because you know the melodies to those songs. You see, so you have a guide, and because of that guide, you can go follow it and stuff like that. And I cover that in more detail in my course, Create Crazy Gospel Chords. But with talk music, you're left to your own devices almost. So if you don't know a lot of songs that are like more blatant, like the newer stuff that's out, or the classic church songs, then you kind of in a pickle because you don't know what to do. So this is where knowing a lot of hymns comes into play. You have learning a lot of hymns comes to play in this. Okay, so one time I think in one of the videos, the passing no, not, that was wrong. The talk music video I did something in A flat, and I was emulating the preacher talking or something like that. And in the middle of that, I went into a hymn called "Have Thine Own Way." Okay, so I was in A flat, I think. was doing random changes before that, going along with the mood. Okay, and then I bust out into a hymn because I know that melody. But what about the stuff before the hymn came in? How can you start thinking more melodically? And this is where you want to start humming stuff to yourself. One, I mean, that's one way to do it. But one of the best ways I would say to do it is just to use the major scale. Use the major scale, use the notes in the major scale, and put different chords with each note of the major scale. So let me demonstrate. So say I'm in the key of uh let's do the key of G flat, okay? So key of G flat, and you guys feel free to comment away. But you're in the key of G flat, and we're gonna do all right. And you want to do is come up with different chords that share the particular bass note we may be in, or the melody note rather, actually the melody note. So if G flat's at the top, or F's at the top, or E flat, or whatever's at the top, I can use a chord that's different, that's not the typical chords in the G flat major scale, and create some crazy progressions, and that'll make your talk music sound a lot better. I'm just recapping a little bit for those who are new to this, and then we'll jump into the advanced stuff about, left hand techniques and soloing and drawbar settings and all that good stuff. Okay, so let me go back to it. So actually, let me switch the key. Let me do it to D flat because it might be a little too muddy if I do it on G flat. So that's the path I'll be following. Okay, the major scale. Watch this. Put different chords with each note. Watch. See that? Melody note was on top, but I just swapped all the chords underneath, right? So when you're doing talk music, and let's say you want to use the melody note, or you're playing in like a key of D flat, like I just was, just normal D flat, right? So you see what I'm saying? You could just start doing stuff like that. And then go to F. Then, all kinds of stuff you can do. All right. So that's a little quick read about how you can make your talk music more filled in and more advanced, more awesome sounding. You don't have to stay in the same key all the time, because once you know what you want your melody to be, you can do any chord under it. Now that's just walking down the scale. But what if you're doing like, your regular 251, 736, 251 stuff like that? Same key of D flat, Okay. 736. Okay. Now what if I did 736, 251, but totally different chords going with a different melody? Now I have to create a melody. Okay. There's a question here saying, how can my organ sound more church and less soap opera like? Do you play a Hammond, Mark Landis? Or are you playing another type of organ? That'll be the main question. Just put your answer there. I'm going to continue teaching. So, say I'm doing 736, 251, C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, okay? So instead of doing the regular normal chords, 7 minor 7 flat 5, or C minor 7 flat 5, in this case, F minor, but I'm doing an F dominant 7, flat 13, and flat 9, to the 6 minor, 2, to the 5, okay. when you're doing that, you can switch it up. So, all right. So that's how you can switch it up. All right. So that's the recap for those who were not here for the first two master classes. And now we're going to move forward with the topics of today. Let me attend to Mark real quick. He says a Yamaha motif. Man, it might just be your patches. To be quite honest with you, I mean, if the patch is bad on, the patch on the keyboard itself doesn't sound like a Hammond, um, then you're really kind of stuck. I mean, uh, because Hammond patches are hit or miss depending on the keyboard. Okay, so you might have to look into getting another keyboard that has a great patch. One I highly recommend is a Nord. Nords have great Hammond patches. All right. Okay. So moving on. So now let's talk about some soloing techniques. Okay. Now for soloing, your left hand has to be so strong. Okay, your chords have to be full, your voicings have to be really good voicings, and your left foot has to be good as well. So let's cover some left hand voicing things. All right. Now, when you're soloing, for the most part, you're playing a staggered setup. What I mean by staggered setup is your left hand's right here in this real estate part of the keyboard, and your solo hand is up here to the right. Okay. Now, so that means on the left hand of the lower drawbars, you'll be using the two white ones as a base to build from, because you obviously pull some of these out as we move forward. And then up here, you have some kind of diaspin kind of drawbar setup, like so. Okay, now this is more of a traditional gospel organ solo setup. I'm going to be using some old hymns to do this and demonstrate this. But you can use this with any contemporary stuff as well. Okay, that kind of sound. Okay, now let's go in the key of A flat. So I'm in A flat. And now, if you are around for the last couple of master classes, generally with chord voicings and with this setup, you gotta keep your hand, your left hand, in the same real estate. Okay, the same real estate of the keyboard. This is generally right here, not up here, not down here, unless you're doing some, kind of moves like this. Unless you're doing stuff like that, um, then I, you're not going down that low. Okay. Now, while your chords are in this region, you got to make sure, number one, general rule of thumb, you're playing the organ. Guess what? No roots in the chords. If I'm playing a D flat in the bass here, guess what? There's no D flat on the bottom in my left hand chord. So every voicing of your left hand, for the most part, okay, has another note in the bottom other than D flat. The most common notes that I use are the third of the chord. So if it was the key of D flat, the F is in the bottom, or the fifth is in the bottom, okay, or the seventh or something like that. But for the key of D flat, those aren't really too good. Whatever voicing works in this area is the one you want to use, okay? For example, in D flat, the F works in the bottom as its third. But if I go to A flat and try to put the third, right, doesn't work too well. Guess what I have to do then? See that? Fifth in the bottom instead, okay? My voice is kind of low. Let me turn it up. Oh, can you hear me better now? I think you should be able to, so my voice is up now. All right, so fifth in the bottom there, or what I like to do, voice it that way, voice it that way. Okay, so when you're approaching soloing, you got to make sure that you have your left hand chord voicings up to snuff. Okay, and I cover that in the course, Create Crazy Gospel Chords, in more detail. But the basics of it is make sure that you have and first of all, another note besides the root note in the bottom of the chord, one, and then two, make sure that you're staying in this particular keyboard real estate, and three, at least 3, 4 notes in the chord. Okay, 3 or 4 notes in the chord. No two notes. Everybody, you can't get away playing the simple tritones no more. That's not gonna work here. Okay, you have to actually be playing the basics of the chord and actually add some color. Okay, so let's start with this song. Oh, let's do like Amazing Grace. Everybody knows that, right? Okay, one more time. All right, so let me break down some of what I did there in the left hand. Now, as you can see, the left hand was a good bass, a lot of 3, 4, and even 5 note chords at certain points there. Okay, now all of it stayed in the same place. Okay, all in the same area. So when you're approaching solo in the organ, you gotta make sure you're smooth. Now the way you make that stuff smooth is by using your voice leading. Okay, stuff, little inner movements and stuff like that. So for instance, let's do from the beginning again. So see that little move right there. So my first chord, let's say it's this: A flat major 7, add 9. See that move? And I went to A flat dominant 7. So even right there. So making sure each transition means something. So from the D flat dominant 7, D diminished 7 to the A flat over E flat, okay? And then okay, using the melody on the top to kind of move things and shape things a bit, okay? Saw that? So now, when I went to the F, see that move? Ba 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 ba. Okay, so I went from the F and I use a voice leading move to approach the next chord, which was the B flat. Okay, now, okay, all right. Now that one was pretty simple. I just stayed on here and went to the B flat minor over E flat. Okay, so the basic point of what I'm trying to get at is you want to make sure that you have ways to connect your left hand chords, because if not, your soloing really is going to sound really basic. Like if I didn't, I don't know if I can really pull this off, but if I did not smoothly move between the left hand chords, yes, me moving smoothly with the melody might help a little bit, but still, it wouldn't sound as advanced or as pro as you want it to sound. You feel what I'm saying? So if I just played, see, it doesn't have the same feel, because there's not a lot of moves going on. Ba, ba, ba. You're not doing all those filling moves, okay? So the next thing I want to talk about now, in terms of the soloing thing, is after your left hand is down and your left foot has a groove to it, now you also have to talk about your right foot, the expression pedal. Now, as you can see, that last time I also stopped using the expression pedal. And the reason why that's never good is because it doesn't have the soul. And this goes back to Mark Landis' question about how can your organ sound more church and less soap opera like, is because I don't. If you're not using the expression pedal with that keyboard patch, it doesn't matter what patch it is. You take away from the true, authentic organ sound, because it has an expression pedal to affect the dynamics. Okay, I played that song straight just now with no dynamics, but watch how my right foot even adds to the groove of the song by pressing in on certain moments and pulling back on other moments. Okay, so once again, see that how I pulled back? See, so I'm pulling back on the expression pedal to bring, on the one of the beat, the first beat, and I pull it back, and I push it forward, and I pull it back. Okay, so you want to use that trick too when you're soloing. That takes care of the left hand, on the left foot, and the right foot. Now we want to talk about, okay, the right hand. Okay. Now, the right hand, you're obviously playing the melody, but what makes the melody sing is grace notes and little fillings. I call this kind of stuff the organ crawl, or um, what you call grace notes is the technical term, but just stuff that makes it rub in the right way. It doesn't make it sound so sterile, okay? Because you're rubbing the notes, doing little, and it adds some groove to it. Now, how I use this is I use those kind of grace notes in the groove of the song, in the pulse, right? So, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 and, see what I'm saying? Or even 16, 1 E, one neander, two eander. So you can use those grace notes and stuff like that as groove to make what when you're playing slow, it sounds like it has more groove to it. Okay, and that's very important on the organ. Y'all know me. If you watch the first organ masterclass, you know me and the drum set principle are like inseparable. Everything has a groove to it, and when you play the organ, that's what makes you sound good. When you're playing shout stuff and you want to do crazy shout stuff, that's all groove. You know, that's all groove. You have to have that groove in there. Okay, you have to make sure that everything's in time. Okay, so back to the solo and stuff. So now, when you're playing the melody in the right hand, you want to make sure that the same way you were connecting things in the left hand with voice leading and passing chords and all those different things, you want to make sure that in the right hand, you're not just playing the melody, not like that. You want to play, add little embellishments like that. All right. So that's what you want to do on the right hand, and it adds complexity. Complexity is the wrong word, but it fills it in. It fills it in. Okay. So if you remember in the first master class when we talked about praise songs and shouts and stuff like that, same thing kind of applied when we were doing the screamers. You know stuff like that, and you have to watch for those because you can't just play a shout just holding it. Can't do that. You have to keep it. And when you're playing the preacher chords leading up into it, etc. So you gotta have those screamers in there and those rubs in there to connect your solo playing. So whatever melody that you're playing, whether it's Amazing Grace, Oh How I Love Jesus, whatever it is, you want to take that melody and be able to embellish it. Okay, you gotta take the melody and embellish it. Okay, and that's going to take some time because you got to know some scales and stuff like that for the most part. But the most easiest way to do it is look at the major scale you got. Let's see, we're in A flat right now, right? Okay, and just look at where the third is and the fifth. Okay, and just rub the note leading up to the third, the one right next to it. In this case, is B to C, and into the fifth. Okay, and obviously the third again, and then use kickoffs as well. So 5 to 1, 5 to the 3, you know, 5 to 5, you know, octaves always work. So these are little things that I do. I don't do anything more than that when I'm playing. For the most part. I mean, rarely do I bust out one of these. I barely do I really bust out any of those. Kayon Mosley, that was Masterclass 2. I did a preacher chord lesson last week, Wednesday. Okay. So that is that. I'll probably link to that probably sometime, probably in a couple weeks or so, because we have some other things going on here at the company that are requiring attention. So now that is how you make your right hand really complement everything. Okay, so let's look at that again. Let's review. So let's go through Amazing Grace again. See that? Rub, watch this. Remember that? The 5 to 3. Okay. See that rub? And that's just it. next part of the lesson. Switching drawbars in the middle of it. Etc. So let me move on. I know that I went past it there, but let's talk about now switching drawbars in the middle of your soloing and building intensity. Okay, you gotta build intensity. All right, because you can't start out with a solo like like I was doing at the end there. You can't do that. I mean, if you start a solo like that, that ain't gonna work. You feel what I'm saying? So that was A flat, Xavier. So what you want to do is have a command in your drawbar settings. Okay, you gotta know your drawbar settings here. So first things first, every time I start out like a solo, I play first completely on the bottom for my introduction, and then for my starting out, I pushed it in. It's a nice diaspin, a little upward staircase kind of drawbar setting that starts out pretty, has some character to it, but it's not too high pitched. All right, and then you know, um, I proceed to move on from there. So I would use Amazing Grace. There's another song I love called All Night, All Day. It's very popular in Chicago. It used to be sung at Fellowship Baptist Church. Reverend Clay Evans, love them people. Pastor Eric Thomas, that dude is amazing. So I usually try to play that song because it's so, uh, it helps me train this aspect of what I'm about to show you. And also, you guys want to train this aspect to any hymn will train you, really. You just got to find the one that just speaks to you. For me, it's this one. So, okay. So, as you see there, I switched some drawbars around a little bit, and I didn't do too much because I want to keep it simple for now, for those who are beginners watching. So, or really not, too adept at the soloing thing. So basically, my bottom drawbars ended up right here, okay? But they started right here. So how did I switch? How did they come out, and how did I still sound full, even though I was, switching drawbars and playing the song and doing all that kind of stuff? Well, same thing goes with these drawbars up here. How did I do that? Well, you have to know when to switch and when you to choreograph your moves. So let's start from the beginning. So from the top, no drawbar switch. Watch. right there. See that move? How I grabbed up there? I went, and then I came down because I want to do that move right there. And I couldn't have done it without it sounding too muddy. And I could have even pulled out this one too, right there, and added a little more treble to it. Okay, so let me start from the beginning again and show you that drawbar switch. So back to the top. So it's right there. Pull, pull out. See that? When I did those block chords in the right hand, it was full enough for me to go move and pull the drawbars out so I can intensify the bottom. Because remember, I'm building the song. The song's way more aggressive now than when it was before. So start from the beginning. Let's do it all over again. Okay, push all that in. Do my little intro. Let's see. From the top. Pull. See that? And then you do a little funny drawbar tricks like that. I messed up on that one royally because usually it's supposed to go, huh, just I think I don't know. Oh yeah, and by the time you get to your landing chord, you're supposed to be hitting a full. I mean, all the drawbars should be out. You feel what I'm saying? So let me try that again because I love that move and I need to perfect it. So remember, I was right here. Now on my organ, I do not have four sets of drawbars. For this kind of stuff, it is an advantage because it makes you used to having to make these switches and be very, very proficient in switching. But on a regular organ, you could have this setting, and then on the B preset or another preset, guess what? You can have the other one. You can just switch so easy. You feel what I mean? So, I personally, I have two here, but for those who are playing on a regular organ, it'll be a little bit easier for you. But it's just good practice to get the switching anyway. So, you know, where did I end up at? So, you feel what I'm saying? So that's how you would transfer the drawbars and whatnot. So those are some ways that you can use and build your solos. You want to start with low drawbars, pretty mellow, obviously. But what you want to do is watch where you can switch. And when you're switching, make sure that whatever you're playing in the hand that is left to do the job by itself, make sure it's full. So every time I switched, I was playing a four-note chord, and you know, like for instance, like this one here. So, um, uh, Russian doom, ba 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 ba. So right here. See that? I played. Those are four note chords in the right hand that allowed it to carry over and sound full enough while I want to go pull out the drawbars to intensify it at the same time. Okay, so that's it. Now I had another topic here I want to talk about. Um, Actually, no, that was it. So let's recap. So when it comes to talk music, when it comes to soloing, melody, melody, always think melodically no matter what it is you're doing. Always think melodically, no matter what, because that's what's going to give you a reference point to do awesome, crazy stuff with. Now, when you want to practice this to start, use the major scale, any major scale, go down the scale like so, and have each note of the major scale be the top note, okay? And then add different chords underneath that top note. Okay, add different chords, crazier chords. You know, like say if I'm in D flat, I kind of did it earlier, but I'll do it again. So you see what I'm saying? You can do it like that, and you put those crazy chords in. It gives you more chord ideas and chord vocabulary. All right. Now, if you don't know a lot of chords, go sign up for the free video series on organmadeeasy.com. If you go there, you'll see there's a free video training there, and I show you guys how to formulate these things and get those crazy chords going in your own playing. Okay, now after that, we moved on to the left hand chords, where they are in keyboard real estate. The pedals got to be on point. When you're using your left hand chords, you have to fill in and you have to make sure that everything is connected. All right, using passing chords, voice leading, etc. And also think melodically about those as well. Then, when you go to the right hand, you have to know the melody, obviously, but the next step is you have to embellish it. You have to use the notes in the major scale and even the ones in the blues scale. You know, that blues scale everybody knows, or those little rub notes in between. So leading up to the third, to the fifth, to the one. It doesn't matter what chord it is really, as long as it's a chord tone or whatever chord you're playing. Try to make it grace note when you're doing. If you have to go here, don't do just that. Do this. Connect it as much as you can. Okay. Also, don't pick your hands up too much. Don't do. Remember, the goal is to be full, to sound full, no matter what you're doing. Because on the organ, you're doing a lot of stuff. You're playing pedals, left hand chords, right hand chords, changing drawbars, hitting the Leslie switch, playing with the chorus and the vibrato, hitting percussion, switching drawbar presets. You know, putting you're doing so many things. You see what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that all of their habits, their playing habits, are those that are very, very full sounding. Okay, because that's the name of the game when you're playing organ. We don't have a sustain pedal. Okay, so after that we covered that. Then we did with those grace notes. You want to make sure they're grooving in whatever song you're playing. Okay, you gotta make sure they're grooving. Okay, and after that, use your expression pedal as well to help with the dynamics and the groove of what you're soloing as well. Okay, so guys, we are close to an hour here. Actually, it's looking like 50 something minutes. And now I'm opening it up for general Q&A. General Q&A, and we'll move on from there. So general Q&A session, anything about gospel organ, gospel piano, gospel music, shouts, preacher chords, whatever you want to know. I'll do a Q&A session right now. So in the chat box to the right of the video, type in your questions. Now, there is a little bit of a lag from when I see you type your questions and when you hear my answer, okay? So, here we go. Q&A session. Let's go. So Xavier Parker's asks, "What key is that?" That's the I was playing in the key of A flat generally. Okay, that one's pretty basic. Any other questions, guys? I'm here. While you got me, use me. Okay, probably give it around 30 more seconds or so. If there's no more questions, I will log off and wish you guys a happy good night. Any questions? General Q&A right now. Hello all from Springfield, Mass. Hey, how you doing? Hey, I'm in Massachusetts too. God bless you. Nice to see you. All right. So, any Q and A's, any questions you guys have for me, anything that's a challenge right now, whether it's in your left hand chords, preacher chords, politics, church politics. I can speak on that too, whatever it is. Anything, any advice or any insight you would like me to give into something you're going through right now and you're playing or whatever, I'll be glad to help you guys. If I don't get many questions at 6 o'clock, I'll be shutting it down and I will wish you guys a happy night. All right, so it looks like no one has any questions. So, this is Vaughn signing off. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with me these last 3 weeks for this organ masterclass. It was awesome doing it. I had a lot of fun. I hope you really, really learned a lot. I really did. I planned it all out. I had lots of notes and everything like that. And I really want this thing to really be useful for you guys because I love the organ and I love teaching it. And, it just gives me joy when people, take whatever I can possibly give them and use it in their own life. And people have been writing into Organ Made Easy, emailing me, calling me, even saying how much it's affected their playing and how they've improved, and it means the world to me. So I just want to let you guys know thank you so much for being a part of Organ Made Easy family, and I'll see you guys later. Look out for an email from me in the next couple of days. I'll have another free lesson up for you guys. Peace.